Welcome to the second viewing, where we view things twice so you can listen once. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Dan.
And on this very special episode of the Second Viewing Podcast, guys, we got some guests with us. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Spencer.
And I'm Zach. And we're here from the Stockholm Cinema Podcast.
Yeah, and this time we're doing something that very much pertains to our own show.
Right. Of course, I know if you guys haven't listened to any of their previous content from their podcast, Enter Sandman, you would guys know that they take a look at Adam Sandler films and like to talk about the joy and wonders of Adam Sandler's filmography.
All in the name of finding out whether Adam Sandler is funny or not. So far, not looking good.
Well,
He's not that funny so far. We've been at it for about a year now. We're on to That's My Boy,
Yeah.
so we've covered, I guess, 23 years of Adam Sandler's filmography.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking lots.
We're finally getting into the contemporary years, and we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But that being said, we've seen some real fucking dirty, awful, degenerate shit throughout this filmography. And due to that fact, I had thought that maybe we should go back to the first flick that we watched, Going Overboard.
Right.
From 1989, written and directed by Valerie Bryman.
Yeah.
Starring Adam Sandler and Billy Bob Thornton.
Starring Billy Bob.
Starring Billy Bob.
So you guys like to, I guess, list the films and how you enjoy them and level of quality
Absolutely.
or enjoyment. And at the end of every episode, which by the way we'll link in the show notes, maybe your latest episode, That's My Boy. I think it just came out as of the date of this recording.
Recording date, yeah.
And I think your last film before that, Jack and Jill, kind of made you reevaluate your list. Spencer particularly.
Yeah, you hadn't jumped off the fucking cliff with me, but
You drank the Kool-Aid pretty hard.
I have come to the conclusion, or at least prior to watching again, and I won't show my hand too early here, but I had come to the conclusion that possibly because this movie, Going Overboard, had hung at the bottom of both of our lists like a fucking boat anchor for so long.
It's never moved.
No, it has never moved, but after watching, You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Chuck and Larry, and Jack and Jill, just some hateful shit,
Deuce
some
Bigelow,
just
male gigolo.
general shit. I just kind of was under the impression, because there'd been so much time that had passed, that maybe this movie's only proper crime was that it wasn't really a movie. It was just super amateurish.
Right.
But, upon reviewing, I might not feel as strongly
Well, I
about
guess we'll have to
that.
take a look at it on the second viewing, if you will.
God, if only there was like a podcast, web show kind of thing like that, where maybe people were to look at something again to
Good idea.
reevaluate
Someone
the
should
film.
do that.
I don't know, but in the meantime, I guess maybe should we cheers, guys, to the film we're about to talk about, because things are about to get hairy.
Well,
I think.
Shabbat Shalom. I think a Jewish greeting is in order.
Strictly no comment on that one. Strictly no comment.
Salute.
Beautiful. And yeah, I guess that said, this film this week, of course, is Going Overboard. And this film, I think is barely a film, more or less.
I actually mixed this movie up with is it Mel Gibson?
No, you keep thinking it's Mel
Overboard?
Gibson. It's not Mel
some
Gibson.
other dude. There's
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
Overboard?
Oh, yeah.
Going Overboard.
I saw...
No, this is Going
This
Overboard.
is Going
Oh, wait.
Overboard. The Kurt Russell
It's
one
just
is
Overboard.
It was Overboard.
Sorry.
What's that? What's the poster? What's the Amy Schumer Goldie Hawn movie?
Oh, Snatch.
Yeah,
Snatch.
yeah,
We were just
the
discussing.
poster that we were discussing just a little while ago. But I saw that when you unrolled it there, and I was thinking about that movie. That one I haven't seen in a long time.
Honestly,
Overboard's pretty creepy in hindsight.
Yeah, it is a fucking weird movie.
I guarantee it's better than this, though.
Oh, without a doubt, because that's a movie, and also my boy Kurt Russell's in that one.
Shout out to Kurt Russell really quick.
Love me some Kurt.
But
Shout
this,
out to Miracle.
Fantastic
Oh my
carpenter,
God.
I hear.
Oh.
Right? I think he's a carpenter in the movie Overboard.
He
I
actually
think that's
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, he certainly
So
is.
He's like making
basically
a shoe
Jesus.
rack or something.
He's kind of like Jesus in that way.
He's also a libertarian, so he represents our politics too, which is cool.
Oh,
Right.
Cool dude. Cool dude.
But he comes from an extremely hick background. But enough about Overboard.
But
Now
we're gonna
we're-
hop
we're
on
going
the fucking
overboard.
Going Overboard.
Yeah, like this.
Going over.
I love where I love where Adam Sandler says, but before that, a montage of some really hot ladies.
And then he bugs to the camera too.
Like, did you guys ever watch like the Man Show, a terrible
Oh, yeah.
talk show
Jimmy
that
Kimmel
Jimmy Kimmel
and
and
Adam Carolla.
Man,
This reminds me like a
Adam
segment
Carolla.
from the Mad Show, honestly.
feature length,
in
like
a
a
lot of
spin-off
ways.
movie.
It's kind of strange, and I guess for newer listeners out there, this is your first time tuning into the podcast. The first half of this podcast, we like to talk about like our general thoughts on the movie, and of course, we got Spencer and Zach here to talk about their general thoughts, and then we're gonna take a break and come in and basically reevaluate this film, because me and Daniel have watched this just for the first time recently.
That's right.
And these gents here watched it about a year ago at least, give or take.
Yeah, it's been just like, what, a year and a month? Year and 2 months?
a bit of
Yeah.
a year. So
So
it-
without giving too many
Yeah.
spoilers away, we'll jump into, first of all, an overview of what the film looks like. We'll talk about our first thoughts. And I think afterwards, when we do the second viewing, then we can start to focus on what the Enter Sandman podcast is really all
Yeah,
about.
and like, was the film better? Was it worse? Was it entertaining? I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it could get worse, Kyle, after this first viewing, really.
You said
We'll
what you
see.
said. What does this movie look like? And I'll tell you one thing. It looks like shit because the whole movie, I don't think was lit once. They had no lights on that
It
fucking
looks
shit.
like it was shot on fucking video, and I
I think it
actually
was shot
have
on
some
the aspect
trivia about
ratio
this
is
movie.
fucked up.
Shit.
So apparently, and of course, this is some weird shit that has not been confirmed or denied. It's been cited on a few different websites, but of course, being
it's
that
on
this
IMDb,
movie,
so it's legitimate at this point. It's confirmed
yeah,
knowledge.
being that this movie is so deep into the ether, it's tough to really come up with any actual facts about it. But one of the things that consistently gets brought up is that the director of, photography on this
Okay.
movie, in quotations, had, for some reason, somebody in charge of actually bringing all of the lenses and camera equipment did not bring the box that all the shit was in, so they were in the midst of the cruise by the time they realized that they
shit.
didn't actually have the lenses or any of the proper equipment that they needed, and that could have possibly included lights. Given
Right.
the hack job of writing and everything else about this movie, it's hard to think that anything could have been calculated, so I don't necessarily think
That's
that maybe there
true.
would have been lights, but at the very least, maybe the whole movie wouldn't have just reeked of such shit from the way it looks.
We would have had one small positive to talk about before we jump into a fucking minefield of negatives.
And like, sorry, continue.
Well, if you haven't seen this movie, like if you even YouTube the trailer, it essentially looks like someone put Vaseline on a camera
Yeah.
lens
Yes.
and then shot the entire thing. Like, I rented this on iTunes in HD for the second time that I've ever done this. This was my second viewing. And, like, it looks terrible. It looks like the most... Oh, God.
HD is not
absolutely
something
horrible.
you can't even use the term HD to describe this. There's no way to take this out of
There's-
standard
there's-
This
definition.
is
There's
this
no
is
way
what
Sandler-
320p or
This definition
Fucking
has no
240,
standard.
baby.
This is definitely SD Sandler definition. This is not even,
This
is the
was shot
standard.
on fucking VHS tapes.
Like,
That's the way it looks.
It's honestly, it's very possible, and I don't know. Like looking at Sandler's, I guess contemporary filmography, it's shitty in a different way. I think than this
Yeah.
film. Like look at something like Jack and Jill, where which might come up later on, talking about.
But the laziness follows suit.
It does, and I think
Yeah.
like the main thing that I definitely realized is that he learned early on that he could just go on a vacation and make a film based off that.
Yeah.
His first film ever.
fucking one.
From day one, he learned. He's like, oh,
day
well,
one.
this is how movies are made. Well, I guess, hey, folks, hey, my buddy who's going to be a bartender and then star in 20 other films with me,
Fuck.
let's go on a cruise and let's make a movie about it.
Well, and it's weird too because, like, as we've discussed on our first episode and as we've gone through since, like, I think the budget for this movie was $200,000.
It was.
What?
Yeah.
Where did that money come from?
Yeah, fucking,
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, may as well be. But then you look at like Jack and Jill, which cost like $80 million or something like that. By, all standards, this movie should be somewhat decent, just on the
Right.
grounds that, like, for $80 million, you get something as shitty as Jack and Jill. That's got to follow through somehow to this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So are you think they leased the boat? I'm sort of thinking they might have leased the boat.
Where the fuck did they get 200 grand
From
from?
what
Were they
I-
just wasted the whole time on the boat? Like, what happened?
That's a good fucking question. They must have just paid a huge chunk of that to the, at this point, super Twilight fucking Milton Berle. Like some of the why the fuck is that guy in this
Fucking
movie?
death's doorstep in this movie.
He needed some money to pay for the senior home where he lived, and he just this was it. For some reason, he was in this, and I can't imagine because this is 2 years before Sandler was even on SNL. This is 2 years before anything. There's no reason. I think there might be some stand-up footage of Sandler from this year, but I don't think there's any
From his
prior
Funny
to
People
that.
days.
This is one of those things when you're applying for a job and you have that embarrassing post on Facebook that you go and delete before you apply for the fucking job. This is something that he probably wishes he never did, and I'm surprised that 2 years later that he actually got the fucking job on SNL, having this released in the world.
Yeah, of course, and that brings up our earlier point we were talking about, where in this film, if Adam Sandler can come back from going overboard and become the superstar that he is, that our boy T.J. Miller can come back from the Emoji Movie and, of course, make something out of that.
Little teaser to maybe a future episode.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch that shit. We were gone canoeing, otherwise it would have come sooner. But
it was Kyle's girlfriend's birthday. Shout out to Kay Wong. Respect. Kay Breezy was saying, or we were just out for eats, and you were like, thoughts on going to see the Emoji Movie right now? It's her fucking birthday, Kyle. She doesn't want to see the Emoji Movie, dude.
She might have been down, dude. She might have been down.
Does she watch a lot of shitty movies with you? Is she a flick fan?
Honestly, she actually gets pissed off more than I do. I like to watch a lot of schlock before bed.
Yeah.
I like to watch stupid shit like XOXO. It's this really bad Netflix movie about EDM festivals.
Respect.
Oh, that sounds good.
And she got pissed off. She's like, I can't fucking watch this shit. Do you better turn this the fuck off? And she, the next morning, she was still mad, kind of. It was lingering in her eyes.
I fucking was a part of that shit.
Did you guys watch that Zac Efron EDM?
I was about to get into that.
What was that one?
We Are Your Friends.
We're Your Friends.
The same thing happened. I was like, hey, we're about to go to bed. So I turned We Are Your Friends on. The exact same thing. She's like, what the fuck is this? Why is Zac Efron in this shit? He's better than this.
That's so funny.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Zac Efron could get it. Dick's out for Efron.
Well, Dick's out for Efron.
He's done well for himself considering where he began.
He gets the job.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we bring this up almost every episode these days. We love Efron.
He's got a decent range. It's decent.
I thought you were going to say he has a decent cock. For sure.
Have you seen that guy? There's no way there's not something going on down there. He's got to have a fucking banger of a cock.
Actually, you know who's a huge cock, though? Our boy Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender has a huge cock.
Shame we're talking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That guy could wreck a bitch. No questions asked.
If he jumps funny, it hits him in the face. You know what I'm saying?
I went and saw that movie because I heard his dick was so big.
He got it.
It didn't disappoint.
Honestly, that guy drops pipe and everyone runs away almost. They're kind of scared.
Fucking true. The last time he took a girl to bed, she fucking ran away. It was so big.
He fucking whips that thing out, drops it on a table, and a shockwave happens.
Yeah.
He doesn't shake it. He throws it over his shoulder and burps it.
Yeah.
If he were to jump off the boat and go overboard, he would just float by his dick.
Yeah.
They'd find just fucking the head of his cock sitting out in his body. He would
be using his cock as a fucking raft.
I imagine
he would paddle to safety with that fucking hammer.
I imagine the opening scene from Jaws where the lady's getting ate by the shark and she's holding on to the Bowie, but it's just his dick. Just holding on to it for dear life.
If Michael Fassbender had played Dickie Diamond would have made it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I like to think that if you were to just take Dickie Diamond's hat off of the water, you would just see a dick hanging out underneath it.
Yeah. Man, Dickie Diamond is one of my least favorite parts of this fucking movie.
I was gonna say it's my favorite part of the movie.
Are you serious? No, he's bad.
When he's stuck in that bathroom and he's grabbing his sock and he's trying so hard to be funny as a fucking actor. Oh, what is this? You wear these fucking shoes? Look at these shoes. You got a sock? Well, look at this sock. Let me out. He's banging on the shower as he's trying to get out the door. It's how bad could you get?
There's no fucking way a shit ton of this wasn't improvised. I doubt that there's a script for this movie in existence.
That was more clear to me watching it this time through, where in the credits it does say that the director was the writer of this movie, but you watch it, it doesn't have a plot. It doesn't have any. There's so many scenes where Sandler's wasn't that last scene weird? And there's probably another weird scene coming up too. Isn't that going to be funny?
It feels like fuck, I don't even know. What would it be? A weird
It's we got wasted on a cruise and made a movie.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. Of course.
That's what it
kind of reminds me of a bad sketch comedy show or something.
Totally.
And there's weird parts interlaced. Or I remember for a while in the maybe late 90s, or so, there would always be like comedy bits in certain music videos.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I remember the Foo Fighters did that a lot,
Right.
and like some other bands. That like just reeks of this. It
This
kinda
is the
smells like
worst Foo Fighters video you've ever seen.
like it just stinks of like a really bad music video. This whole thing to me for some reason, like as if like a boat trip, which I think is like road trip but on a boat with.
Oh my
Cuba
god.
Gooding
It's
Jr.
road trip, but worse than Euro trip.
I like Euro Trip. Shout out to
Euro
Euro
Trip's
Trip.
alright
Scotty
stuff.
does not know.
I just remember fucking being a kid and like there was some tits out in a hot
Did
tub, and
they
I was
ever
like,
come out
nice.
though? Because I kind of felt like you never saw the nip. Like I remember having that shit on my dad's fucking iPod video.
Whoa.
And like watching it and just always like scrubbing it back a little bit, like at the part where she lifts up her shirt at like the truckers when they're trying to hitchhike.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of feel like there was never any full tit,
think you
and
were
being
watching-
like fully upset about it.
You were watching the edited version because I can
TBS
confirm there's
tits.
tits.
Yeah.
I got that on DVD. We might have to peep game on your
We're watching Euro Trip tonight.
Because I remember being choked about that shit, and I remember fucking just going for it anyway. I was like, I can imagine the
Well,
nipple.
sometimes you have to. I remember like watching 8 Mile. That was the first time I ever saw a nipple in a movie. Actually, you see the mom's nipple for like a half a second, and I was like, "What? Go back! What's that?"
This is the worst thing I've ever said in my life, and I've never said it out loud. I've jacked off to Jamie Lee Curtis and Freaky Friday.
She could get it in that movie, to be fair.
Oh yeah, she looks good.
She's looking good. It's Lindsay Lohan.
Oh
so-
my god, that's a good point.
My-
I mean, so wait a minute.
It's Lindsay Lohan inside her body, but
It's me inside her.
It's okay.
I for
Yeah.
sure historically jacked it to Lindsay Lohan's
Oh,
nude
well,
pics.
To her
so-
like fucking mugshot.
was this before or
I
after
jacked
she
up
shaved her
to
head?
I Know Who Killed Me.
Before.
That's the movie I
Oh, man,
jacked.
fucking, I was walking home from school one day. This was like 2007, walking home from school, and I saw a DVD label side down.
No way.
Sitting on, like, in the alley, and I picked it up to see what it was, and it was a copy of I Know Who Killed Me. And I picked it up, checked and saw what it was, and fucking put it back down.
That's so awesome. Only that movie would be like one sidecasted
back.
to a ripped DVD and then sidecasted to the street.
Do you guys remember when every single DVD player you bought for like one full year came with Freaky Friday as a throw-in?
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason I ever watched Freaky Friday.
I can't speak on that. I don't remember that.
I
was
don't
a
remember
throw-in.
that either, man. For throwing movies for me, I just remember General
Mask.
Mills, my boys, throwing in The
General Mills.
Mask and all the Air Bud movies.
That's
That's
the
Oh,
fast
yeah,
with
for
Brendan
sure.
Fraser.
and fucking Spy Kids 3D with one pair of 3D glasses.
Really? Because I
yeah.
always only got Spy Kids 1. Like, this is the movie. Not Spy Kids 3D.
Okay, you know what? I might be remembering it
I
incorrectly.
got Spy Kids
but
3D, though, with a couple pairs
Well-
of 3D glasses if you guys want to get together and
Oh,
watch. It's
man.
pretty good.
Let's do it.
That's, I saw that before it premiered because there
Dang.
was for whatever reason there was an early showing going on at the Capitol. One of
Nice.
2 times I'd been to the Capitol in my life before
Wow.
they got rid of it. Shout out to the city of Saskatoon, still keeping the Capitol marquee around in city yards. I've seen that shit. It still
Shout out to
exists.
that paid parking lot now.
Oh, damn.
That's dark. But I remember my dad winning tickets through like some Rolco contest, and
Oh,
like
yeah,
us
for sure.
going in there and throwing on those anaglyph glasses,
Yep,
and
yeah.
having a fucking migraine at like what
shit.
year did that come out? We would have been like
It was
2000.
2003.
2003, I want to say.
Yeah, we would have been like
I won't
fucking 8
pretend
years
I
old
don't
at that
know.
time, and my
holy
fucking
shit.
head hurt for like the remainder of the day. It was brutal. Anaglyph, I don't fuck with it. The only movies I've seen in Anaglyph are that one, and then Friday the 13th Part 3.
What?
Oh, when we
3D.
Dream Warriors?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's
or no,
four.
That's
Is it Friday the
Nightmare
13th?
on Elm
Oh,
Part
they're all
Street
the same.
13?
I'm sorry.
I don't
Fuck.
know. Yeah, it was. I think it's Part 3 they did 3D,
The
but I'm not sure.
13-3, that's a
That kind of
3D
makes
one,
sense.
yeah.
Friday the 13th 3D, maybe?
That's the
Yeah.
one, and
Right.
the guy looks like Jonah Hill as
And
the
they-
star.
He fucking rams an arrow down through the deck into that fucking girl's head and then pulls her up and her
No.
tits are out.
That's the Friday the 13th remake. That's
Oh,
2009.
That's with Rooney Mara.
You guys seen that? Yeah, with
Yeah,
Rooney Mara, that's
Rooney
right.
Mara's in there.
Man,
Yeah,
my,
she's-
my
We watched it at
memories
your
of-
place once
She's
a long
skinny
time ago, but I
dipping.
remember we were zoinked.
No, she's skinny dipping under the dock. It's amazing.
No, I don't know about that.
all
Skinny dipping, he sticks the arrow down through the dock into her head, pulls it up, her body gets lifted out of the water,
This
the camera
gratuitous
zooms into
tit.
her boobs, and then she slides
Nice.
off the arrow.
I just remember Rooney Mara being like, hey, I've seen her in something. Who's that? Who's that?
All
But
of
the only
those-
time I went to the Capitol actually was to see Friday the 13th, or Freaky Friday, fuck.
Oh,
And
really?
It was just,
Freaky Friday the
Bringing
13th.
it full fucking circle.
and it was
here.
just me and my sister for like the longest time in the theater, and like I might be like 8 years old, and I'm like doing like a dance in the theater because I'm the only one in
That's
there,
so funny.
and like fucking like. Fucking, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Austin Powers
I'm doing some
dancing.
weird
I'm
like
looking at
dance moves. I don't know. I thought it was funny, but whatever. You're a kid. And then I just remember like the first time I ever felt truly embarrassed. All of these girls walked in and like saw me dancing. Like I was just like, and I like walked in shame.
Go
so
chill by
hard.
your sister and like slouch.
I was
and
like,
fucking
whatever. It
elbow.
was just like my
So-
Sean Desmond routine. It's fine.
You're with my girlfriend. She's older.
Yeah, she's older. Don't worry about it. She paid for it too, so we're cool like that.
Oh man, I saw fucking Spy Kids 3D, and I saw Toy Story there. First movie I ever saw.
Oh, actually, that's not true. I also saw Recess the movie there.
Oh,
That's a
man,
hell
I
of a
had-
movie.
Man, my cousin owned a family video.
Oh,
and,
shit.
And
Across from our high school.
yeah, across from our high
Damn,
school.
that's tight.
I bought Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, at that video.
The Clumps.
I watched.
You're the only one ever.
I bought Recess the movie on VHS there in their fucking bin. I think it might have been given to me actually, and I don't know this cousin at all. Like,
Right.
but he's like weirdly
a removed cousin.
kind
sorry.
of written off, I guess, by probably my mom.
I think at the
It's one of
Capitol
those.
I saw Tarzan.
Oh yeah.
man.
I want to say I saw Tarzan.
Phil
there.
Collins,
Rosie
Tarzan.
O'Donnell,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Shit, it's true.
Was that who was the star? Was that
I don't,
that Fraser?
no, the guy,
No,
that was
I don't
George
know.
of
I'm
the
remembering
Jungle.
that George of the fucking Jungle.
Shout
Brendan
out to
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser for sure.
Yeah, bring him back.
Bring back Brendan Fraser.
Save
Yeah, I
Brendan
loved
Fraser.
Journey to the Universe 7 or
Center of the Universe.
Oh, I think it was just the first one, but
That
it
was
felt
the-
like the seventh.
That was
movie.
the first like I guess like real D3D movie me and Dad ever saw in theaters.
That was released just before Avatar. Maybe?
Something
Yeah, it was like
that,
a year before
Yeah.
Avatar, and I remember like there was like younger kids with us in the same row who were like reaching in the seats, like trying to touch the bubbles in front of them.
It was so
'Cause they were
fucking
like,
annoying.
We
We
were
were
like, what the fuck's going on? This is weird shit. I don't think I like 3D. We were like, this is kind of stupid.
no. Also, isn't that weird guy from that dude from Hunger Games in that movie?
Oh, Josh Hutcherson? Yes,
Yeah.
he definitely is.
That movie, I'm sure it's bad, but I remember going to the theater with a buddy of ours, and we were intoxicated. And we had the choice of seeing Clash of the Titans
Oh, God.
or, no, it was fucking Furry Vengeance.
that?
Brendan Fraser fighting the fucking
Was that one of his
Man,
last
Brendan
ones?
Fraser made a comeback in 2009 for a minute. Hey?
I
That was
don't- I don't-
2008.
I don't know if I consider it a comeback, to be honest.
He buys a house and it's fucking like the animals that live in the neighborhood like don't
Are in
want him to be there, so they're attacking him.
Is it? It's called Furry Vengeance.
Furry
was that just
Vengeance.
like an over the hedge type thing?
Well,
Like,
it was live action.
Okay,
but it
fuck.
was.
But shout out to Over the Hedge. That's a good
Man,
one.
doesn't Brendan Fraser does a lot of fucking live action movies where there's some like animation or
Yeah.
cartoons.
Yeah.
And didn't he do the Looney Tunes movies? Or am I
Back
crazy?
in Action. Yeah.
Back in action. That's
Yeah.
Oh, those
a
fucking
handload
suck.
of a movie right
Those
there.
are
That's a-
carcinogenic. You can't watch those ones more than a couple times without danger to your health.
Fuck for sure.
Isn't like
I went
Dharma
and saw
Dharma's
that.
in it.
Yeah, I went and saw that movie on my fucking birthday the year
God.
it came out.
Did you just
man.
hang your head when you walked out?
I just hung myself instead.
I remember. I remember vividly. My birthday was on a Saturday that year. I fucking watched The Animal on TV with Rob Schneider on the Friday night, and I was getting so amped up. I'm like, I'm gonna watch The Animal tonight. I'm
What
gonna
the
watch Looney
fuck?
Tunes Back in Action
You
tomorrow.
were a different kid, I can already tell.
Oh. It's a bad movie.
No kid has ever been excited to watch The Animal.
Badger Milk.
Holy
That movie
shit.
is a goddamn.
And then you went home and you watched Master of Disguise.
I fucking had my aunt. My aunt
talking about
had
this
fucking
shit.
Movie Central, so she would tape movies that like were like just came out and tape them and give them to me, and I had Master of Disguise on tape,
Fuck.
and I've seen that movie too many times.
I've never actually seen it. I just know the
I
fucking one
fucking-
line.
No.
I
It's
saw
a
it.
rough
Yeah,
boy.
it's Turtle enough for the Turtle Club.
Turtle
or some
Club.
shit.
Is Dan Harvey?
Dana Carvey.
Dana Carvey,
Yeah,
sorry.
fucking Garth Algar. Man, I was the biggest Wayne's World fan.
Oh,
I
okay.
fucking love the Wayne's World movies. I love the first one. I don't know how I feel
The
about
second
the
one's
one.
better. It's an improvement.
Really?
I love Wayne's
I
World
disagree wholeheartedly, but that's a
When,
story for
uh,
another fucking time.
Broadway Theater in Saskatoon here. This would have been like 2014. they had a double feature of Wayne's World 1 and 2, and we all went as a crew.
Oh, cool.
And fucking...
And I fucked off for 2.
Everybody left before 2, and I sat there.
Dang.
It was me and Davis. We were the only ones who stayed and watched
I don't
it.
fuck with 2. What can I say?
It's a good movie.
I think it's
I
pretty
disagree,
good.
man. What about the fucking sword fight shit? Fuck that.
Why
so
not?
good. The football fight?
No.
Can I just bring it back that Michael Fassbender's cock got us to this point?
Fuck.
Damn,
So, I just thought that might have been
Dude, Michael
something to bring up.
Fassbender's cock. There's a lot of discussion to be
that was
had
a
around
long
it.
detour.
It's big enough for that
Well,
big of a detour.
maybe we fucking get back on going overboard for a minute here.
I don't know. There's a few things I wrote down. Like, you guys seem to hate Dickie Diamond, but I kind of fucking love Dickie
I
Diamond.
fucking hate Dickie Diamond.
got so
You always
little
like
to
the
say.
assholes in movies.
It's
Can I
true.
say that? It's
It's
like whenever
true.
there's like a schemy fucking asshole in a movie, Kyle's like, fuck it, I'm into it. He's such a dick. I love
boy.
him. My boy, exactly.
To me, it's always like, whether it's good or not, it's like an excuse for some like cheap character. I don't know, like character of the film. I mean, and
I feel you.
That's like the side of you that loves shitty movies
it's
coming
true.
out.
It's
yeah.
true. And like this movie, like is not at all like so bad it's good. It's really just so
it's
bad.
just bad.
But at the end of the day, like, there's this portion where Sandler's like first like noticing Dickie Diamond, and he's like staring at him, and he's
Yeah.
kind of getting like heated, and as he's like looking at him and
Yeah,
staring,
that's weird.
he's staring intently, and all I could think of was just like, that's how everyone else sees Sandler now when he goes, "Shut up."
Yeah.
A lot of this movie, for me, I actually did enjoy this more the second time around.
That's insane to me.
And the reasoning is because a lot of the things he says in this movie just seem like he's like, it's like he says something in like, for instance, when he sees Dickie Diamond do his comedy routine, there's something about, well, he says, this guy's talking about incest. That's not funny. This guy
Bang his
needs help.
grandma, yeah.
Yeah,
But now he's
you
like-
know, like, and That's My Boy, they're incest jokes.
True.
There's so much shit throughout this movie that he says, and like the way he comes to that girl's defense during the fucking stand-up
Right,
bits.
yeah.
It's like the things he's made fun of people for. It's just this weird hypocritical thing
It's
where
a
it's
real
like
glass houses situation.
it's super bizarre because a lot of the shit he says he contradicts and like just
Like
fucking
in
jumps.
most of his fucking movies.
Yeah,
Most
it's
of
like
them.
it's like a bizarre statement on the rest of his career. It's almost like he laid the groundwork by doing the opposite of like a lot of the things
Well,
this
it's-
character said.
I think it's like he paved the way, like you said, by saying like, I'm a nice guy, look at me, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that, and wouldn't do that, but wait, this little thing here, this little thing
Yeah.
there, and then he slowly became what he said he wasn't, but people already had this impression of him that he wasn't that way, so they're like, Sandler's a good guy. Oh, I made that one racist joke. He didn't really mean it.
Well, I think
There's
even over
also-
time you can just tell like how more hateful he gets.
Oh,
only,
yeah.
I think honestly, now that I've seen this film, I just think he has less material to talk about. He has less things to talk about.
Pretty
so now
much,
he's just
yeah.
getting.
True, he's
he-
fucking scraping the
Yeah,
bottom
he's
of
just
the
screaming.
barrel.
He's like, all right, well, I guess we'll put some racist jokes in there. That might,
We're going for the incest joke at this
yeah,
point.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%.
I guess my initial thought of this movie was a terrible line that I loved though. There's this one, the drunk girlfriend of who's the singer? What's his name?
Oh, Croker.
Croker.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna take a Rain Man on this one.
Yeah.
So just the tagline of this episode is I'm taking a Rain Man on this movie for sure.
What about like, because we've already jumped into like the actual movie, and this is where things get super fucking fragmented, and we were talking about prior to recording the fact that it almost feels like a bunch of different movies kind of cut together. To me, it almost feels as if like you fucking taped a movie off of the TV, and then like 3/4 of the way through you
feels like
rewound
you're
it,
watching
and
it
then you
with-
taped something different over top of it.
And you're
then you-
watching the commercials too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it
exactly.
cuts back into the original movie, like the VCR cut out somewhere, and like you're back into the original movie, and then for some reason you started taping something else. It's so bizarre.
Your dad fucking taped Farmgate over.
Holy shit.
Well, I can't get past
Shout
the
out to
fact that
Farmgate.
fucking Sandler is talking to the camera and acting
Breaking the
in the
fourth
movie.
wall, all the fucking time.
It adds to your theory of sorry, I can't think of names right now. Who directed that shitty Midnight in Paris movie?
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen.
Your boy.
It adds to the Woody Allen theory. How like
It's got
Sandler just is,
Yeah.
some crimes and misdemeanors tones to it as well.
We like to tie anything we possibly can to Woody Allen these days.
especially near the end though, when he's like behind that door with Bob, I think his name is,
Bob
Yeah.
and he
Buddy.
comes to the
Bob from California.
right? And when he looks at the camera, looks directly at the audience, and starts talking, I'm like, this is some Woody Allen shit right now.
Oh man, you know, but the weird thing I was getting at there was like with the whole movie taping over shit was the whole Noriega thing. Like, why the fuck is this movie going political?
I don't
Because
know.
this was before. Was it Panama or
Panama, yeah.
Yeah, they like there was a dictator. They like, and of course we are not old enough to remember any of
I
this
have no
shit.
idea.
We were not
But-
alive enough at the time.
I'm already
for this
lost
stuff.
right now. What you guys
Yeah.
are talking
But
about?
like he was an actual dictator, and he got overthrown. And for whatever reason, we decided
The U.S. invaded Panama. This is a true story. They invaded Panama and blasted Van Halen so loud that it drove him out of his fortress.
Are you
fucking
serious?
kidding me?
That's the thing. And like the Van
shout out to
Halen.
Van Halen.
The song is not related to that. That was after the point. But yeah, they fucking blasted Van Halen so loud that it like disoriented him and he couldn't stay in his home
Wait, the
any
song
longer.
Panama. Oh my god.
the
This is
fuck?
weird. This is an alternate universe you guys
Yeah,
are talking
it's
about right now.
Crazy.
But for whatever reason, we decided that it was a good idea to have this guy picking through fucking VHS tapes to like, and
To
the
come
movie,
across a fucking Adam Sandler movie. Like,
Yeah.
what was that even? How does
So-
that even fucking mix and
well, it's
match?
like some porno tapes, and then one
Right,
called
yeah.
like.
Blondes prefer cucumbers is
And
one of
what
them.
was it? What was
Yeah.
it called? That might be the funniest part of the whole movie. Just that
Probably,
the name of that
yeah.
fucking tape. It was
Yeah.
like the unsinkable Shecky
Unsinkable,
Moskowitz.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a movie within a movie, and we're breaking the fourth wall. And at some point, like, one of the characters in the movie where they are breaking away from the movie with all the fucking buxom blondes and the beauty pageant people when
Right.
they're doing the beauty pageant segment where one of the characters, Miss Australia from the movie, talks shit about Noriega and he like calls his boys in and he's like, fuck, go get her. And they're like, what, the lady from the tape? And he's like, yup, the lady from the tape. And they go get her.
And
That's
both
so weird.
It's like, what the fuck?
both
has
times that we've
nothing to
watched
do with
this, when
painting.
he calls his boys in, there's a half second where I'm like, is one of these guys Ben Stiller? And it's
Right.
not, but
yeah.
That'd be hilarious. I just
There's
kept thinking.
The
shades
fact
of
that Billy
Stiller.
Bob Thornton is in this movie,
Oh,
and that
that's
fucking
wild.
what's his name? Is it Milton, the old
Milton
Canadian
Berle,
barber?
yeah.
Milton Berle.
Like,
Milton.
Yeah.
Fucking like classics out the ass with that guy. Like a
How
big.
the fuck did he get those? That's where the $200,000 went.
Well,
was-
I'm thinking that like now that we're talking about like these random like interlaced like bits of the film, do you think they just had that footage of like the models talking or like the beauty pageant models talking?
Well, they directly talk shit about Shecky Moskowitz, so
that's
they
true.
taped it.
Yeah.
From what I understand, this movie was actually they had a very vague idea. They booked a cruise, which also had the Miss World shit going on.
I never thought of
And
that.
then
And
it
it's-
asked
it
who
was,
wanted
it
to
was
be in a
taking
movie.
them to a beauty
Yeah,
pageant.
well, you know, right at the fucking beginning of the movie, like he like breaks the fourth wall immediately, and he's like, "Hey, I'm what does he say?
This isn't a
Taxi
low
line-
budget movie, it's a no budget movie.
He's like, what does he say? See you later there, Mr. Cab Driver. And then it immediately proclaims its laziness. And it's like, well, like, you know, this is a movie that is entirely based on the fact that we have this big old ship here and all of these beautiful ladies. And then it goes through the Rolodex of all these women. He's
And then he
like,
does the duck walk to get onto
yeah,
the
and then he goes,
ship.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like that.
He's
I'm not
doing like
gonna
the
lie.
chicken dance.
see, but that gives you false hope. That's the worst part about this
That's,
movie. The
that's
fucking
shades of better Sandler.
That's
there,
true.
right?
That's
fucking
fair.
Sandler you
fair.
and you can hear him doing the fucking voices that he
Yeah.
does
Yes,
too.
yes,
which is
that's
like
true.
that like watching this movie the first time, it was such a con because it was like, this is bad, but it might be so bad it's good. Because you see the Noriega shit and you see
Yeah.
the fucking tapes with the funny
Yeah,
names
yeah.
on them, and then you see him do the dumbass fucking walk and like just explain how like
You could
making
see how he
excuses for the
grew
movie.
as Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you could see, you're like, oh, this is really bad, but this shows enough promise that I could enjoy it, and it just, that's where it stops. There's no
Well-
more enjoyment to be had after the 3-minute mark.
And then you're
Right.
plugged into like a 6-hour like intro credit scene. Like,
Oh,
just, like,
so long.
It's playing a song I actually Shazammed called "Girly Girly" by Sophia George.
Respect.
Kind of a jam, actually. I kinda like it.
Speaking of the fact, though, that Sandler, you can see how he has grown when you watch this movie. All I could think watching it this time around he's young. He's like our age when
Yeah.
he made this movie.
He might be younger even.
He's got this certain, like, put him back in, he's not quite done yet quality. Like, he doesn't look like the Sandler that we know.
Right.
right.
He just kind of looks weird. He just looks off.
I was watching clips of this at work, and
I
my
was saying you were
boss
watching Click at work.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
and my boss
I don't know
looked
what's
over
worse.
my shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, he's so cute," looking at young Sandler, and I was like,
No,
"What?"
he looks got
I
a
was like,
What
"Oh
are you
man."
talking about? This guy's an egg-ass head.
fucking rat face in this movie.
Oh man, what movie do they continually refer to as egg
50
shaped
First
head?
Dates.
Yeah. Oh man.
You guys should know this. Come on.
Fuck, we should, but it's been so we're so deep into it.
It's
at
when
this
you
fucking
watch
point.
as many of these movies as we do, they just fucking flush out so quick.
Oh, I feel you. I mean, like, after watching 2.5 Men last year, if I were to watch an episode now, it would just give me a fever
Fuck,
dream.
honestly, this
It would
one of the
be
few things
unfunny
is
all over again.
the one of the few things that I could watch again and probably honestly say that like I barely remember what happened is 2.5 Men.
That and possibly this. And you
possibly
guys
this.
watched this today. We watched this today. I have difficulty, like, you can see all my fucking yellow post-it notes in front of me, and you can see, like, just the amount of times I made just a painstaking effort to tie some plot together, but there's no plot to tie together. Like, usually I try to, like, take notes on, you know, plot points so I can keep the plot moving forward, but it's like, it's so slim throughout this thing.
Right.
At a certain point, it just becomes quotes because there's nothing
Yeah,
to talk about.
Dude, I know exactly
Basically, it's a cruise ship getaway with a bunch of hot chicks, and Adam Sandler hopped on with his buds to make a film, and then he paid fucking, Billy Bob Thornton a shitload of money and
Milton
Milton
Berle.
Kind
to
of sounds
be
like
there.
blended, you know?
Shit.
And I
fucking-
got the impression that the Milton Berle scene wasn't even filmed on the cruise.
I don't
No,
think
not at all.
there's no way it
Definitely not.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like,
He was doing
in-
a fucking residency at a casino, and
He's
they
an-
just showed up and filmed
I
it.
fucking hope so.
guarantee
The
it.
laugh track is hilarious, though.
Oh,
That was
so
actually
that
pretty
was
tight.
weird. how
Take
they
my
brought
wife,
that in there.
please.
Man, Milton Berle was an old boy in fucking Broadway Danny Rose.
Yeah.
And this is fucking years down the road
He's an
from that.
elderly gentleman in this movie.
Okay, well, I think we're getting pretty close to the point where we got to
I
take
think
a
we're
break.
gonna take a break here. This is me and Daniel's, I guess, exclusive, like, second viewing experience. We're about to watch again for the second time. For me today, to be honest with you.
But when we return,
We're going to just talk to you guys about what was better and what was worse and what might be life-changing on the second viewing.
Sounds like a plan.
until later. And we're back, folks. We've just sat down and watched a fabulous movie once again called Going Overboard. I almost forgot the name of it. It was such a fucking snooze.
In all defense, we really didn't watch it that much. I'll be straight up with the folks at home here.
That's
we
true.
sat in front of this film and kind of maybe saw it out of our peripherals, but more or less,
We didn't watch it. It happened to us. It just sort of occurred.
It was more of a defense mechanism, really. We were like defending ourselves against seeing the movie again. We just we need to do anything
desperately
else. but
trying to
first.
make conversation
Yeah.
to avoid
And
paying
when-
any attention.
when the material at hand is such a non-movie to begin with, it's like,
Yeah.
really, what are you supposed to really grasp on? I don't know. I can't even talk at this point. The film really just did a number to my brain, I think.
Is there anything that anyone noticed the second time around that was different?
Ass.
Lots of ass in this movie. It's
There's a fuckload of ass.
a
in this movie.
buffet of
A
ass.
buffet of ass.
There's too much ass in this movie. I never thought I'd say
You know
that.
what? I don't know that there is too
not
much
gonna
ass
say
in
too
this
much.
movie because what else are you looking at if you're not looking at the ass in this movie?
Yeah,
Realistically.
Sandler's not
They
much
probably
to
could have
set
used
your
more
on.
ass, actually.
I think this movie should have just been all ass.
Well, in a way, it was complete ass as far as I'm concerned. It's just not the ass I like.
recall when we did this movie on the show the first time around, we compared it to porno without the sex,
Oh, that's true.
which I think is probably pretty
I
authentic
actually-
at this
That's
point.
a poignant
I
thing.
want-
Because
time,
every
uh,
line of dialogue is super corny and
God.
cheesy.
It's so wooden.
One
and
time I
terrible.
bought a friend a copy of Anchorman parody porn for her
Oh,
birthday.
hell yeah.
That's hilarious.
And for whatever reason, it was kind of like a gay gift for the group of my friends. And for whatever reason, we decided it'd be a good idea to sit down and watch some of it together before we gave it to her.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, kind of weird, but it was a funny thing to do at the time. And it was 2 discs. So we popped disc number 1 in. And we're sitting there, it's like 5 minutes in, we're kind of laughing. It's kind of like bullshit, someone in a terrible Ron Burgundy like outfit. I don't really know. It's like that pool scene.
Whammy!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cannonball. It's like that thing. Whatever. And then, like 10 minutes in, we're like, for a porno, there's not a lot of sex in here. So I like peer into the dick case and I'm like, this disc is the censored version of the porno. We pop in disc number 2 and there's fucking in like the first like 30 seconds.
serious?
Hilarious.
But there's a whole disc dedicated to like just I guess
That's just
Censored,
a
like,
remake,
sexual
essentially.
movies.
Yeah.
Did they win like an AVN award for like best dialogue or something? And they're like, you know what? We're actually proud of this. Let's put out a censored version of this for the people.
I have no idea. I just don't know who in the
For the
world.
children.
Well,
Fucking children.
made for the children. But other than that, who is that even for? I don't know one
Yeah.
person who would actually find that entertaining. But that's just my fun aside for the week.
The thing about the Anchorman porn parody, though, that whole anchor fight would be like an orgy scene, though.
good
And you'd
points.
have, like
fighting with sex toys kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and you'd have
Right.
like
Yeah.
fake porn star Ben Stiller and fake porn Vince Vaughn and Luke
Vince
Wilson.
Vaughn is just a fake porn star to begin with, as far as I'm concerned.
And the idea of like real movie porn parodies is the most ridiculous thing ever to me. I just fucking love it. I recently saw on one of the VHS buy-sell trade groups I'm a member of, somebody was selling like 30 copies of the E.T. porn
What?
on tape.
30 copies?
E.T.
like,
the extra
30
Why
copies.
does he have more
Why?
than one?
Yeah.
And why
I
does
don't
even
know,
one
and they were
exist?
all in different fucking
Those are probably
sleeves and
all
cases
30 copies
too.
that exist, are my
Yeah,
guess.
and he was like
Maybe
asking
he
like
made it.
$15 each, and man, I was looking at some of the screenshots from that. It's fucking disgusting. The ET suit that this
Well,
fucking
have you guys heard about the E.T. Atari game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah.
got like buried in the dump, and then
Right.
they found like 100
yeah, and then they did
copies
the big
altogether.
documentary on that.
I think that's probably what this porno situation was.
Oh,
Maybe,
you think he
yeah.
went out to New Mexico and dug a bunch of ET porn?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was
Black
Atari's
market.
last ditch effort. They're
Well-
like, well, fuck, the video game market is crashing. Let's just get into porn.
Do you think that Going Overboard was just supposed to be a porno? And then halfway in they said, actually, Sandler wants to have a respectable career down the line. Maybe
And
we
they
should
saw his
Right.
penis and were like, wow, not quite porn.
Well, see, now if it was Michael Fassbender, then it would just be straight porn.
Absolutely.
They'd say, well, this guy can just put
They
anyone
wouldn't
to
let him
sleep.
on screen without showing his horse dick.
Yeah.
Like, especially if he wasn't that experienced. Like, if it was his first movie ever, they'd be like, let's see that dick. They'd be like, damn, we gotta get that on screen.
They wouldn't let that
hard to
guy
get
on
on
the boat.
screen,
He'd
it's
sink
too
the
big.
fucker. That thing's a boat anchor.
Yeah, it's damn straight.
Yeah, talk about 70 millimeters.
I had read on the Amazon page because I was looking at like just where you would buy this movie. I think I just searched Going Overboard today.
I thought you were
and
talking
they-
about the ET porn, but
No.
Yeah.
Both, actually.
He knows where to
contemplated
buy
buying
that.
that.
not a bad idea.
But I was looking at it, and Amazon described it as a raunchy sex comedy. There's no sex in this movie.
Barely. There's a lot of ass.
There's a lot of ass.
Like, and there's a
Take
lot
that
of
motherfucker
alluding
hammer
to
time.
sex.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess the only time that it really
Never
alluded to it
any
is,
proper
like,
sex.
Bob wakes
Yeah.
fucking, what is Adam Sandler playing in this movie? What's his
Shaky Moskowitz.
Shaky
Okay, so like that
Moskowitz.
brings up a great question for you folks here. What do you guys think is the worst Sandler name? Like off.
Oh.
This is about as bad as it gets, if
What's
not.
the other worst one?
Sandy Wexler.
Well, but we like
know.
Sandy Wexler
Yeah,
as a movie.
there's
so.
one-
Did you see
There's-
that, Daniel? Did you see Sandy?
I did see Sandy Wexler.
It wasn't
yeah.
that
That's
bad.
pretty
It was
funny. I
okay.
like
I thought it
Sandy
was
Wexler.
like very okay, but but I was very like not into Sandler. This was
Pretty sure
post Jack
that's
and Jill
valid.
for me.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
my
man.
my letterbox rating was just honestly not that bad. 2 out of 5. No, that's my rating.
That's fair enough.
My Going Overboard rating, which I made earlier today, was a 1.5.
Oh, man.
You gave it a half.
That's
bro?
fucking
That's
generous,
reasonable.
man.
Okay, guys, hear me out. Like I was like, think about Going Overboard for me more or less is it's so fucking like not even really a movie
Well, yeah.
that like it's hard for me to like riff on it as much as I would something like Snatched, which is
Yeah.
like a full production piece of I guess
Garbage.
vagina soup, and
True.
more or less. This like it just felt like they maybe made like 4 movies and just shit them together. And the only reason I gave it that half, honestly, is that like first little opening
That
bit.
Billy Bob Thornton scene?
Well,
or-
the Thornton scene got me hard for sure.
That's
but
funny shit.
The opening bit with just Sandler saying, "Hey, it's a no-budget movie, and it's just gonna cram some scenes together, so get excited."
This fucker, the first time we watched the movie, that was your favorite scene. Him talking about being a no-budget movie.
I think I still stand by that, to be honest, because then like that's the only reason why this movie is even just slightly bearable. Like
It's like at least they fucking warn you.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
very fair.
and it's honest about what it's warning. Not that anything after that is good, but fuck, I
Totally.
can stand by
For some
that.
reason, I thought the actual story in real life of how they made this movie was Adam Sandler's buddy had a fucking extra cruise ticket and they filmed the fucking movie.
That
Pretty
would
much
be
may as
that
well
far
be.
off the
That
mark.
seems like 90% accurate, honestly.
And maybe just fucking Bremen had an extra cruise ticket and brought her camcorder. You
Yeah,
know?
she's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got this thing called the VHS. You guys seen one yet?
You guys seen one of them?
Say, no, I
VHS
just got my
tapes?
Suzuki Laserdisc out, and I'm about to put it in right now.
And the argument, like, the reason why this gets any sort of mercy, like, as you said, was just due to the fact that it's not a movie, and something like Snatch being a full production,
Yeah.
you know, you can really rail on that. Plus, Snatched, you could make Going Overboard 210 times for what Snatched costs.
Fuck
Like, how
yeah.
can you
Right.
even rationalize that? You know, how can you compare this
Yeah,
to
That's
that?
true.
true.
That being
That's
said,
true.
there's been
This
a
is
lot
like-
better movies made with a lot less than 200K.
Totally. Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course. I mean, have you guys seen the
like
Blair
on the-
Witch Project? That's a pretty good movie, I think.
That one's all right.
Blair Witch fucking Clerks, like that's about a million
What,
times better.
what was
than
that
this.
one that Robert Rodriguez did? El
El
Mariachi.
Mariachi?
That was 10K,
Oh,
was
yeah.
it not?
That like 7K. and that's a
7K
fucking
made on fucking for
Paranormal
nothing.
Activity,
Yeah.
guys?
Paranormal
that movie
Activity
went
3,
bonkers.
Paranormal Activity 2.
Right.
Every paranormal activity ever.
Saw 17. No, those that might have spent more money on that.
So like
Jaws 37 or whatever from Back to the Future 2.
Jaws 37, right?
from one angle, it's like, you know, you can make excuses for this movie based on the fact that, you know, there are a lot of things that have been made for just crazy multiples of what you know you could make this one for, but also there have been a lot of fucking things that have been really good
Right.
that have been made for less.
But I would even say, like, at this point in time, in like 1989, that's a decent, because we've seen the rise of like independent filmmaking and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
budget filmmaking really take off, say in the mid 90s, maybe even early 90s, like years after this. So I mean, I guess to give Going Overboard even a shred more of credit,
Right.
they were able to
kind of leaning into that
they,
foreground a little bit.
or at least able to do it somewhat successfully. Again, not that what came of to be a final product was any good. It just wasn't incoherent, or well,
Yeah,
fuck, it kind of was
was-
incoherent. Like
yeah.
it's more or less.
It's incoherent. It's
Yeah.
not.
I'm trying
makes
to find
absolutely no
I'm trying to
fucking
find a
sense.
word that is like that describes it being successful with while still being shit. If that makes any sense. Like they were able to make a film, but it wasn't.
Is the word you're looking for ambitious? Is
Sure.
that what we're trying
Yeah,
to say?
I would say
Basically.
successfully ambitious.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. They were able to do something that at
There's
least
effort on
Yeah,
display.
yeah.
It's like some form of effort, but like the laziest version of effort. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's true
Oh,
of
totally.
all Adam Sandler movies.
well,
is
it definitely
later
set
most.
a precedent for him. I still wonder though, and this is, I promise, the last time I jump back to the budget. But I wonder, like, I recently rewatched Scanners and listened to
Okay.
Cronenberg talking about how that movie and a lot of other movies in that time got made. And obviously that was a Canadian movie.
Yeah.
And at that time in Canada,
Tax
if you were
shelter.
like, tax shelter thing, if you were a dentist or a lawyer or anybody of like serious means, you could just fund a fucking movie and write that off as like a huge tax cut.
That's-
So I wonder if like a lot
That's
of
what like Huey.
shit
That's what Huey
movies.
Boll used to do for the longest time.
It was
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
exact
yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
So I wonder if like a movie like this, like, and obviously this was made in the States, I wonder if something like this is only exists due to something like that.
Which
wouldn't
is
doubt
kind
it.
of fucking dope if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
well-
that makes it a little bit
It
cooler.
gives it more cred, but then again, something like Scanners was like Cronenberg, while they were shooting that movie, the reason there's so much ADR and like fucking shit happening off camera, somebody saying a line while they're not on cameras, he literally wrote that movie while they were shooting it.
Right.
Like, people would go for break or for lunch, and Cronenberg would write the next scene.
Come up the next
And
Yeah.
that explains why there's so many parts in Scanners where it just cuts to a lot of ladies' asses for like 5 minutes at a time, and there's like weird music.
Are we still talking about Going Overboard? Because that might just be the case. I don't really know.
Have you guys ever noticed though that in Adam Sandler's more serious roles, he seems
So we're talking like Rain Over Me.
or like, or let's just say his like
Punch
better.
Drunk
Let's
Love.
say his better movies, not his more serious roles.
The
but let's
upper
say
half, yeah.
the upper half of his filmography. He's almost seems way more unhappy, And whenever he's making a
always.
fucking shit movie, it's
He's
kind of like
fucking stoked on his life.
he's stoked.
Yeah.
No,
Or
I
he
totally
seems
agree.
genuinely
Weird how
happy.
that
Like,
happens. When
Well-
he plays a dirtbag or just a loser who's down on their luck, you know, he generally, it ends up being a good movie, but when he just seems fucking stoked, it's always bad.
Well, I guess I would just assume that the reason he's so stoked is because all those shitty movies have all of his fucking friends on set.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
fair.
he's just having a
except
good
for
time with his
Jack and
buddies.
Jill. I mean, those his friends are on set. That movie, he seems miserable. as
Yeah.
fuck.
Well, no, there's definitely he's got his hand, full of movies that are really like anger management
Yeah.
and like something maybe like Chuck and Larry or something like that, where he's just fucking dead-eyed, looks like he wants to go back and just fucking
Yeah.
shoot himself.
He's gonna go out to the basketball court he had built on
Yeah.
set and fucking just string himself up from the net.
He had
So-
a basketball court built on set. Before?
He's
That's his
infamous for
thing,
building a
yeah.
basketball court on every set.
Get the fuck
like,
out of
yeah,
town.
he will build basketball sets
And
or
then him and
basketball
fucking
courts on sets.
covert play hoop and shit like in between
what?
sets.
That's why he's playing fucking basketball in so many fucking movies.
I never
He's-
noticed that, to be
Like
honest.
think about like obviously animated, but think
Crazy
about
Nights.
Eight Crazy Nights.
Nights.
Fucking Chuck and Larry. He's playing
got the-
basketball. What else? There are other ones for sure. He's played
Right, he
basketball
is playing
way more
jazz.
times than I can name right now because my brain's
Well,
been schlacked.
And there's an amazing
by
you can
fucking
watch
going
it.
overboard.
You can watch it on YouTube. He went on Jimmy Kimmel and he had a black eye, and Jimmy Kimmel's like, "So what's going on? What's the deal with this?"
Yeah.
And he talks about his car got a flat tire or something like that, and he sent his family home and said like, "Okay, relax, I'll change the tire, take care of it." And he didn't know how to change a tire, but where his car broke down was by a park, and these guys were playing basketball, so he just started playing basketball with a bunch of strangers.
That's so funny.
Got hit in the face, got a black eye, and then called a tow truck to come pick the car up.
The fuck?
He seems like his life seems like a bit of a fever dream. It's like just this ridiculous, idyllic, bizarre situation where he ultimately
It's like he's floating.
he can do no wrong. He is floating. He like his feet haven't touched the ground since fucking 1989 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's a weird, like, set-off point for him. It's a weird vehicle to jumpstart his career.
Totally.
But you can even tell, like, in a way, it seems like a bit of a setback because his next feature wasn't until 1991, which is 2 years later.
But
And
he
that
was on
Shakes the
SNL
Clown,
in
is that
between there, was
Yeah,
he not?
Shakes the Clown, which, what the fuck is that?
That's like a Bobcat Goldthwait clown comedy. We didn't watch that one.
No,
That's
we
just a
skipped that
cameo in
shit.
that one, but
This looks
That
like
and
some
Cone-
weird shit I'm not about.
Coneheads.
We
Yeah.
skipped Coneheads as well, because that's yet another cameo.
we skipped
Yeah.
Coneheads and went right to Airheads. So
And we
Right.
skipped Rain Over Me, because that's a 9/11 movie.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Fair.
The only thing I remember from Rain Over Me actually is when he's playing The Legend of Zelda: The Twilight Princess on Wii.
I've
And
heard he
it-
likes video games.
And
in
it
that
like,
movie. He's
I
a
just
gamer.
remember it was like maybe even before the Wii came out. Like I don't know. Like I just remember like that trailer. I was like, what the fuck is that shit? What's he playing there? You shooting a bow and arrow? What the hell? What's
Yeah.
going on?
It'd be great if he was playing Rock Band. He's getting like fucking expert level on Carry On My
Man,
Wayward
I
Son.
bet that dude fucks with Rock Band. Like,
for
think
sure.
about the scene
He
in
only
Funny
plays the
People.
He's got
Yeah.
fucking like Styx Rock Band.
Oh yeah.
He only plays Aerosmith Rock Band.
Yeah, there we go.
He's
Exactly.
like the world's biggest Styx advocate. Also,
Really? Dude,
Oh,
sticks
yeah.
suck.
They're pretty bad.
Dude.
What the fuck? That sucks.
There's that line in Big Daddy where it's the kid is saying, Styx is the greatest rock band in the world, and they only get a bum rap because music critics are cynical assholes. That's what my daddy always says.
What the
Holy
fuck?
shit.
And he talks about Styx and a bunch of other shit too. doesn't
Yeah, I
he?
mean,
He in
I have his
Eight Crazy
filmography.
Nights, he does the fucking Mr. Roboto dance. Whitey,
Oh yeah.
at the fucking like funeral or whatever.
Well, I don't know. Like I'm looking at his filmography right now. and,
There's
like,
a lot of fucking movies.
I mean, I guess more or less, I just
and
good on.
we've crunched them.
Yeah, just like good on YouTube for taking the time to look at these. I mean, I would maybe like to get some just brief general thoughts on some of these other films.
Our
Absolutely.
pleasure.
But maybe before we get into that, like,
You want to wrap this shit up?
any closing thoughts on going overboard? Was there anything anyone?
Don't watch it.
Yeah, I was like,
my thought.
I was just gonna say, is the film better or worse on the second viewing? That's
There's
the question. I
better
always
movies with more ass, I think.
Yeah.
Totally. That might be the most
Better
important
movies.
comment.
If you're fucking on the market for ass, watch any Nicki Minaj music video.
Yeah, or
And
Big
you-
Sean featuring Nicki
Big,
Minaj.
Big
Yeah.
Sean for sure. Yeah.
Pornhub.
Or just
Yeah.
Pornhub.ca. You
Kids,
get that.
Pornhub
forget
for
about
both
it.
more ass and also just better script
acting,
writing. You
yeah.
know, like just
Yeah.
better story.
Or I could
altogether.
probably scrounge up a copy of Anchorman, like straight to DVD porn for you.
I would
Right.
believe that Pornhub probably has a lot. It's the home of a lot higher production value as well. Like nobody's
true.
fucking amateur hour there,
Yeah.
except
Dude,
for the amateur porn. of course,
Porn
you
knows
know?
about lighting. They
you-
learned
We
about
were,
how to use
watching
lighting.
a goddamn J-Stacks video before
And
this.
it looked
That's-
much better.
That was way better
That's-
production
that's
value.
But
at least-
does Pornhub like have like a year category? Like, can you go like to 1989?
I
Is there
bet.
porn from
I don't
1989?
know if
Oh,
you
I'm
could.
sure
You
they
could
have,
search
like, an old
vintage or
school
something.
section.
Okay, well, if you were to go to
Shit.
like vintage porn,
Vintage,
I
yeah.
bet you it would still look better
Yeah.
than this.
Totally. Well, they
Respect.
didn't fucking leave their box in quotations.
Ah, yes.
Of of various.
That's another
fucking
thing I wanted
lenses
to
and
bring
shit.
up is like, why is that like just like, I mean, we kind of touched on it briefly, was just like the fact that it's like a movie within a movie. It's just such a fucking like
And then he sends his fucking like minions out
into
to
the
get-
film basically.
And that
Fucking
has
Toontown.
no like.
Oh, God.
There's no reason that should be there.
that
really,
seemed
to
worse to
advertise
me.
it.
That was worse to me this time. I think
Is
that's the only comment.
are
I
they
could
trying to
say.
make it a plot device saying like he does make it? Just wait and see how he does it.
I
Is
guess.
that what they're kind of
I
saying?
know,
Like,
Maybe
yeah,
that's
I
what
guess.
we're doing. I don't even
But
know.
like, it's not even. It's called something else. What is it called?
the
The unsinkable Shecky Moskowitz.
But like, this movie is such a fucking piece of shit that I can believe that it was shot under a different title.
That makes
And-
sense.
and
Yeah,
by the
it
time-
I never
was
knew that.
actually. It had a different title.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
sure,
can't
I'm sure
remember
that's
it.
what it was supposed
That
to
makes
be called.
sense.
Like,
But they changed it to Going Overboard. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we can go around the table. I would not recommend Going Overboard.
I also would not recommend going overboard.
I would recommend. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Little Nicky is a better movie than this.
I'm just.
50
So,
First Dates is better.
Hold
go
on,
with
hold on.
it.
We'll get into
okay,
that.
Okay.
I'm just really, really, really sorry to everybody that we brought this up again, and now everybody has to, spend more of their precious, years and time thinking about this, and not years and time like fucking,
Fuck, you spent a year thinking about this fucking dot. Just go
I
kill
feel
yourself.
like we're like
My-
fucking former POWs. Like, I'm sorry that we went through this together, but I feel like it's brought us closer.
I think you're right. Like, I mean, Funny People was more of like
Well, that was
male
good.
bonding.
that was
Yeah,
male
that was
bonding
fun.
at its finest. This was more of like, okay, we've seen some shit now.
We
We've been through
we've
it.
seen
we found
some
a dead body by a creek. We fucking poked
Yeah.
it with a stick, and that's brought us all closer.
I'll never have friends like I did when I was 23. Christ, does anybody?
But I'm just sorry to everybody about that, and I think my list next week will reflect that. I think we might do some more boggling.
Okay, yeah, because I was a bit curious about that. Like, now that, because you guys had planned to, I don't know if we even brought this up in the first half, but you kind of planned to redo or recover this film on another episode
Yeah.
of Enter Sandman. And now, how do you feel about
Jack
this now?
and Jill really broke us.
How do you
Jack
feel
and
about that
Jill
now?
broke us, but this was like
Jack
like,
and Jill's funnier.
Jack and Jill
I'll
is
say it.
funnier. Jack and Jill fucking broke my clavicle like our good buddy Andrew Tamman, and I let that shit heal up and calcify, and you know what? I had to go back and get another operation. I had to watch this movie, and they fucking rebroke it, and it was twice as
God.
painful the second time,
I don't know. Honestly, I think
This fucked me up.
I think this movie's better than Jack and Jill, I'll be honest.
I don't know if it is, man. At least there's
I
like
disagree.
there's some blatantly like
Yeah, I'm Team Dan on this
terrible.
one.
There's some terrible racist jokes that are so terrible that it has to be funny.
Jack and Jill is possibly less hateful than this. Yeah, this one might be back to the boat anchor again. Like, I have difficulty putting this beneath fucking Chuck and Larry and Zohan, because those ones are just...
See,
Those are unforgivable for me anyway.
But like we brought up before, at least those ones have some form of production value. Like
But
they are
yeah,
a
there's some
production.
entertainment to be had there, even if you just
Well-
watch it because it's totally contemptible.
I just think this film is like structurally incapable. Like, at the end of the day, like, for the year and time it was made, I think the production value is relatively sound. It's just more or less that, like, it's cut together in a way that makes no fucking sense.
It's a house without a roof.
Yeah, exactly that. It's basically like fucking Suicide Squad. Like,
That's right.
there is a movie there, but it just makes no fucking sense.
The rain's
Right.
fucking pouring
Legit.
in and we can't figure out why.
It's
So-
a lot harder to find the fucking movie that was hidden in this movie, though. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
true, that's
at
true.
least in Suicide Squad, you can see the characters, and there's like some fucking history and background and comic history
Well,
to it.
I just mean,
this is
I
like
just mean the way that
there's,
it's like cut together to the
like-
point where.
Didn't they reshoot a shit ton of that movie?
Holy
too?
sure as hell didn't reshoot any more of Going Overboard. I can tell you that one.
Someone puts a gun to your head and tells you have to sit down and watch a movie and pay like active attention to it. Suicide Squad or Going Overboard? What are we?
Suicide Squad.
And I still haven't seen Suicide Squad. We were gonna see it together, and I bailed on
We
him.
went all the way to the theater and we're in line to get tickets, and Spencer was like, "Are we really gonna fucking do this?" And we turned around and left.
Honestly, you guys made the right choice. It was fucking terrible. Me and Daniel were
bad.
so
No, I
stoked.
did. I ended up seeing it. It's bad.
I have
terrible.
I
What are
have
we,
one
some kind of
last theory
Suicide
about this
Squad?
movie. You know, because like Suicide Squad got fucking reshoots and they boggled it all together, and like that's more coherent because you have the fucking characters with background stories, and if you're a comic fan, that can make some
Got
sense.
Academy Award
But you know
winner
what?
Jared Leto.
They were on fucking
Fuck that
land.
guy.
They were on land, so they had access to like more film to shoot things.
That's a
I
good
just
point.
wonder whether like Adam Sandler was just so fucking pumped to be doing this movie. They just got really overzealous and took on more than they could handle. Just slammed it together in the first few days, did a few too many takes of a few too many things, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we have like way more plot points to cover, but we're out of 16mm. What fucking happens now?"
I've said it a billion times. I'm pretty sure this movie was shot on video.
I think
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
The aspect ratio is fucked up. I don't
not
think this was
16
filmed.
millimeter.
Yeah,
There's no way.
I think this was shot on
It
video.
kind of
which is
reminds you
even
of
cheaper.
like what now like nowadays we have like all these like rich like shitty like vloggers and viners who have all this money and like do all these stupid lavish videos.
the Lena Dunhams of the world out there.
That would be like them making a film back in 1989. I think where it's like, hey, we got enough fucking money for a boat. We got a guy who's kind of funny. Let's see what we can do.
Right.
Let's go with it.
Let's make some very shitty slash
Hey, just
borderline
go
average
with
content.
it. Just go with it.
Well, no, in our last episode talking about That's My Boy, this is a lower production value than the I'm on a Boat music video.
Totally.
That's my
Shit.
boy is, or this movie.
This
is?
movie
movie.
is.
Oh my
Oh, for
God.
sure.
I wonder
I'm
what
on
that
a
music
boat.
video cost.
They probably fucking made a shitload of money off of
Shout
it
out
too.
to
This
T-Pain
movie
really
made
quick.
no money.
Dude, my ass is hurting on these chairs.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to stand for the rest of this episode.
You're gonna fucking stand.
I'm going
it out.
standing.
You're
I had to
going
get
overboard?
stand for
Yeah.
a little minute too.
Whoa, okay, so what we're gonna do here is a little bit of a lightning round, maybe.
Oh, sounds
All
good.
right.
Wait a minute, let's do it.
Okay, so we're just gonna go over and maybe I'll list the ones that I think you guys have covered.
Okay.
So we'll start with Airheads. General thoughts on Airheads. Oh, actually, hear me out. What we like to do here at the TSV, we're going to start this right now as a new segment. I'm just going to decide.
Sounds great.
We're going to say thoughts on this, and you're going to say if you fuck with
with
it
that.
or if you don't fuck with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds great.
All right.
I fuck with that idea.
And then also you can elaborate on it with some other thoughts
You
if you
got the
want.
technique.
Sounds
Got
good.
it.
Okay, so thoughts on Airheads.
Oh, fuck with it for sure.
Totally fuck with it.
Okay, and like why so?
It's pretty funny. You got good Sandler in a supporting role, which is kind of you don't get that much in the rest of his movies.
You never really see him in this place again, and he's pretty funny. He's happy-go-lucky, and he's light in this movie. You don't see a lot of light Sandler.
There's like
not-
so
it's
much
an
air in his
ensemble
head
film.
that
Yeah.
he's therefore
Yeah.
Well,
levitating.
he is playing the airhead with the most air in his head, and like generally you see like a much filthier or just like sad Sandler.
And in this
you know?
movie, you
Right.
get Sandler doing the most egregious emphasis of the duck walk, where he's
Oh.
kind
Yeah,
of
that's
like
true.
like the walking and
Yeah.
moving.
He's the Sandler
Yeah.
we've heard on all the fucking comedy albums. We've seen on
Yeah.
fucking SNL. He's our boy. He's
It's the,
doing what
it's
we
the
want.
Sandler you
Right.
want, not the Sandler you need. So,
Dang.
Airheads, we fuck with it.
Tight.
So fuck
Okay.
with their heads.
We're gonna go on to Billy Madison.
Fuck with it.
Fuck with it big time.
And
Tight.
this is another example of like doing the duck walk and doing exactly what we want to see with Sandler.
Shampoo, conditioner is better.
Yeah.
Conditioner is better.
Hot one to touch the hiney.
Billy Madison's kind of tight. I think.
Billy Madison's fucking
We
great.
shat all
We
over
were so
fucking
hard
Billy
on it.
Madison, and we feel bad.
That
We'd
might be
like
the
to
one you really have to
apologize
do
for
the
that.
second dream for.
And we actually repositioned that one recently too. We moved the both of us.
I
moved
gave
that
us
shit
the
up.
option to move one movie, and we both
picked Billy
chose
Madison.
Billy Madison
Yeah.
to move up.
Fuck it, I love it. All right, next one, fairly obvious probably, but Happy Gilmore.
Oh, that's great.
Fuck with it.
Tight, dude.
What
I mean,
about anger management?
you're
Don't
jumping
fuck with
ahead
it
a
at
little
all.
bit, but like, that's
Sorry.
okay.
Anger
I
management.
do not fuck with it.
You don't fuck with
I-
anger management?
I will
No.
never.
I don't think
fuck
I've ever seen. Is that the one with
anger
Jack
management.
Nicholson?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad.
I don't remember it.
My
I have never
family
seen it,
rented it, and I fucking got up and left the room and went and played in my room by myself. It's a bad movie.
Damn.
You played with yourself in your room after watching it.
Yeah.
They can bury this one in the fucking same dump that we found all those Atari cartridges in.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's
I'd
low
rather
down the
watch-
list, but like, the only reason why it's as high as it is just due to the fact that, there could be more hate.
I'd rather
okay.
watch like the
Okay.
fucking Transformers porn parody or
Yeah.
whatever you're talking
There-
about.
there
Sorry,
could be-
sorry, what's that? Can you link me? What's that?
Link me up, bro.
Just let me know.
There could be more
pterodactyl porn is,
homophobia, more
more up my alley.
Islamophobia, all the shit we love to see in movies.
Right.
So.
So just for the record, they don't fuck with anger management.
We don't
No.
fuck with anger management.
Okay, Bulletproof. What's that?
Oh, that's pretty good
that's-
actually.
That's a
Bulletproof
weird
Monk.
one. That one has Damon Wayans in it.
Yeah.
And that's
It's a cop, like a buddy comedy.
Oh, I've
yeah,
never
and
seen
Sandler's
this.
a criminal, but Damon Wayans
fuck?
has been undercover.
James Caan. Holy shit, we did that whole That's My Boy episode.
We fucking talked about James Caan and we're like, holy shit, he's in a Sandler movie, but he was
James
in this
Caan,
movie.
he's the villain in this movie.
Oh.
So he fucked with Sandler prior.
20 years earlier. But there's a great moment in Bulletproof where Sandler's like fake getting fucked in the ass. Is that he's crawling out of a window and someone like sticks a gun in his back or something,
Okay.
and you like see it from the outside and it looks like he's getting raped in the butt.
Wait, is it like
Yeah.
a shadow scene, like fucking Austin Powers style?
It's
Yeah,
pretty much
that's
that
exactly
same
it.
thing, yeah.
Huh.
It's, you know what, I would softly fuck with it. I would softcore fuck with Bulletproof. I don't know that I would hardcore fuck with Bulletproof.
Softcore, little light
You'd
fuck.
fuck it gently, kind of
I
thing?
I would fuck it gently, but not with love. You know what I would do? I would like.
It's not
if
my favorite position, but I do it for
After a night of far too many beers, I'd come home and fucking stab at it with a half chub.
Stab out of the
Okay.
I'd still fuck it.
half
All
chub it
right,
for
I'm
sure.
into it.
Okay.
Okay, well, moving right on. We got The Wedding Singer. Thoughts on The Wedding Singer, folks?
I would vaguely fuck with it. I'm
Vague fuck.
kind of lukewarm on The Wedding Singer.
Okay, like a nice grade 10 makeout, more or less.
Yeah, pretty
A lot
much.
of grayscale fuckwiths on this side.
Yeah, a lot of-
This is this gray zone.
I would fuck with this movie on a higher degree than he would.
I mean,
You know,
I don't mean to shit you down, guys, but either you fuck with it or you don't.
I fuck with
Yeah,
it.
No, I'm not fucking with it then. I'll say it. I'm not
Not
Shit.
fucking with
He's
it,
pulling
alright.
out and he's fucking running away. He's Houdiniing this movie.
Houdini up in here.
I'm blowing on its fucking back in this movie.
Right. Okay. Well, the Water Boy.
Don't fuck whatsoever.
Never fuck with it. I
Yeah.
fucked with it hard. Oh boy.
I remember
Water
hating that
sucks.
movie.
Yeah,
My mama say.
I loved this movie because I bought it also in the bargain bin of the fucking video store and just watched it a bunch of times. And for whatever reason, I just loved it at the time because I was in like fucking grade 5 at the time. And I probably fuck with this movie less than most of the movies on the list, but it falls higher up again because,
Right.
it's not got all the hate that I need to put it lower.
You need more hate?
I need more hate.
Okay, what about Big Daddy?
Fuck with
I
it.
love it. Fuck with
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
a great flick. I like that one
Fuck
too.
with
Daddy's good.
They have
Into it.
they have the one girl from Chasing Amy in there. What's her name?
Joy Lauren Adams.
Joy-
Yeah.
yeah, Babe Alert.
Oh, she's great.
She's great.
I wipe my own ass. I wipe my own ass.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Or like
So good.
Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve.
Oh,
Scuba Steve makes a comeback in some film. I think was it Sadie Wexler?
I think there's something.
There's like a
right,
Scuba
yeah.
Steve cameo or like a mention in like some silent film I watched.
something along those
Something along the
lines.
lines here. Cool, Big Daddy tight. Okay, Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
Oh, don't fuck with it.
Oh, definitely don't fuck with it. This is definitely one
That's
that,
like number 2 on our bottom of our list.
yeah, it's a rough boy. I think it's for sure bottom 5 for me.
Okay.
It's a rough
I don't
one.
think I remember watching the
Deuce
second
Bigelow.
one for our buddy Isaac's birthday once, but not the first
Fucking
one.
European
I-
gigolo.
Yeah, European gigolo.
What were they
That's
gonna call the
terrible.
first one? They were gonna call it douche baggio.
It was
male prostitute.
Yeah,
What?
douche baggio, male prostitute.
No way.
And then the
What the fuck?
producers were like, we're not going to invest money in this, so it became Deuce Bigelow.
Oh my god.
And then they invested money in it. It wasn't the premise that was too stupid. It
Just
was
the
just the
name.
fact
You
that
wanna
it was
make a movie
called
called
douchebag.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
Is that the one where the lady has a phallic nose? To the point where like
That would be right, yeah.
her nose gets so aroused
Oh.
that she sneezes cum or something?
Yeah, that might be the second one.
That's the second one.
The thing
That's the
about
Weather
this
Woman
movie
one,
though,
right?
That's the first. Oh yeah, that is the second one. You're right. The weather one. Yeah.
This the big bitch in this movie, the really
That's a
tall
huge bitch.
The huge bitch is the fucking dude in Funny People.
Oh right.
The fucking Die Hard villain.
Yes.
And the person saying that's a huge bitch is Sandler.
Yep.
It's
That's
him
so
doing the voice.
strange. Okay, Little Nicky.
Little Nicky was my fuck with movie when I was younger. I taped that off TBS. I've seen that a million times.
Shout out to TBS really quick.
Shout out to TBS.
Shout out to Atlanta.
Shout out to Jared, Kyle's dad. He fucks with
Yeah, he
Little
fucks.
Nicky.
Yeah, he loves them. He always brings up. He's like, man, you gotta go down to Popeye's Chicken. Popeye's Chicken is a shit, isn't it?
Popeye's Chicken's hot kicking. That was on the TBS version. They cut out the is the shiznit, so he takes
What?
the bite and it's Popeye's Chicken is hot
Ew.
kicking.
I gotta tell my dad that. He's gonna love that. He always says shizbot for some reason. Though.
Yeah, he
never
says the
gets line.
shizbot. He also
Like from fucking Mork and Mindy,
yeah.
Shazbot or whatever.
I don't know. My dad just kind of like.
he mixes up slang.
It's kind of
He
funny.
also used to
Mork and
call us
Mindy
the
one.
boys in the hood with
Yeah.
the hoods up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know. But shout out to Jared. Respect. Thanks for that $30 a month. We love it.
But no,
Okay.
Little Nicky will fuck with it, I think, at this point.
Okay.
I would fuck with this movie. This is another one where it's like a guilty pleasure, and I've been meaning. I really like. At one point in the earlier days of our show, we were talking about doing like other media Sandler stuff, and
That
we still
Game
haven't
Boy
gotten
game.
around to it. There's a Game Boy game made for Little Nicky where just like you get the Harvey Keitel soundbite where he's like, "Get back up."
Yeah, when you hit the pause screen, it cuts to his dad decomposing on the throne.
Really?
Get back up there.
That's
It's fucking insane,
God,
and
it's
it's
pretty wild.
bad. It's
I feel like
really
only like
fucking
4
bad.
people have ever played that.
It's not a good game either, but...
Okay, I'm gonna skip the animal. Okay, what about Mr. Deeds?
Oh, I like Mr.
Fuck with
Deeds.
it.
That's a
I
funny
fuck
one.
with Mr. Deeds
Fuck with
hard.
Mr. Deeds.
That might be my I think it's my favorite Sandler film actually.
It's
Mr.
really-
Deeds.
It's
Yeah.
a good one, man. It's way up the list.
I'm so
I love
glad
Crazy
I got
Eyes.
the Big Bacon Classic.
You like Crazy Eyes?
I love Crazy.
Crazy
Eyes.
Eyes is funny shit.
I kind of like Crazy Eyes upset me the first time I saw it. Saw Buscemi in that role because it was like, God damn it, what are you fucking doing?
Peanut butter and gumballs, nice combo.
Well, I think that is like in the in between stage of like Buscemi becoming like this like legend
Yeah.
and becoming
Into
a
a
big
meme,
character.
yeah.
Either a big character and a legend, and like in between his Crazy Eyes, and you just don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah,
but
that's very
I more or
fair,
less think
yeah.
it's hilarious. Okay, Punch Drunk Love. This is gonna take a while. I'm just starting to realize.
Oh, Punch Drunk, we love it.
We like
Fuck
Punch
with it.
Drunk Love. We
Tight.
fuck with it.
That scene with him and Philip Seymour Hoffman yelling at each other on the phone.
Fantastic shit.
That's my inner monologue 90% of the time.
It's good shit. Okay, 50 First Dates. Fuck with it or don't fuck with it.
Don't fuck with it.
Fuck with it.
Whoa.
Not into
shit.
51st dates.
Not very
No.
good.
What about
Damn.
like
Too
the
much
part
Schneider.
when Schneider has like the coconut bra on?
Never.
The
And he's touching
fucking
it. That's
cheeky,
nice.
sneaky between the cheekies. No,
Oh,
I,
nothing like a cheeky wank.
Don't fuck
Never
with
hurt
it.
nobody. Spanglish. What about that one?
I've only seen
Forgot
that
about
once.
We
Spanglish.
skipped that
We
shit
skipped
too.
it on the
We
show.
I was kind of
cheated.
curious about that actually.
I saw it once. I thought it was kind of funny. I seem to recall him yelling at his maid about making him an omelet.
Oh,
But I might also just be thinking of a Spanish omelet.
I'm thinking
so
of a
I'm not
movie
sure.
where there's like a fucking old grandma who waits until the clock strikes noon and then she goes, "Oh, it's time to drink," and she like
I think
pours
that
a full
is
bottle.
Spanglish.
That is
yeah.
Spanglish.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
right.
Spanglish.
Yeah.
Fuck, I barely remember that movie
I've
at all.
never
That's a
seen
trailer
it.
moment
I
for
ne-
you.
I have never fucked with it.
Fair. This next one I remember being a big deal in elementary school, but I haven't seen it since.
We're doing Click?
No, The Longest Yard.
Oh, don't fuck
Don't
with
fuck with it.
See, I remember it being a pretty big deal. Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
remember
Daniel?
thinking it was decent, and I don't.
Like it's.
No.
I remember the rapper Nelly's in it.
That movie's
Oh,
Garbaggio
respect.
in Fuego. That's not
Shout out to Nelly though. I love Nelly. That guy. I'd ride with him any day. Okay, next one. Click.
I love Click.
Fuck with it.
I
I
fuck
don't
with-
fuck with it as hard as he does.
Click
but he
is
fucks
fucking
with
on
it.
our ranking on the show. Click is number 1 right now. So
On
What?
his
Really?
ranking of
On
the
my
show.
ranking,
Not
yeah.
mine. On mine, it's
Click's
like
fucking
number
number
7
3.
or something
Oh,
like that.
jeez.
Holy shit.
I fuck with Click. I think like overall, like I mean the endings.
3/4 of the
yeah,
movie?
the ending's a little bullshit, but
well, no, as I've always said, every time it comes up on the show, Click is the work of someone who's fucking trying. Click is a movie that's made with ambition,
okay.
and that's what I respect about it.
Okay.
It does have
It
guts,
has
though.
heart. It has
Compared
heart.
to Jack and Jill, Click is making a fucking statement.
Well, yeah.
Was that the
Yeah.
first time we saw Swartz in a movie, though?
Probably.
Yeah, that I don't appreciate.
I don't fuck with that part, but that's
Okay, what about I now pronounce you Chuck?
Don't fuck with it.
Never fuck with
Jeez
it.
Louise.
Yeah.
Fuck, bury that shit.
I remember liking it when it came out. To
I
be
remember
honest with
my
you.
I don't
dad.
fucking
I
like
saw it
that.
for the first time for this show. and I
My
don't fuck
dad
with it.
talked about seeing that movie, and my dad was somewhat a Sandler fan. Could get behind some raunchy shit from, now and again. But he was just like, it's just a hateful piece of trash, and I never expected to hear that from my dad because he's like, I don't know.
So that's enough.
He's
to
not
say.
a dude who terribly gets into that sort of thing. But he was just like, no, don't even fucking bother with that.
Dang
That's
it. I
garbage.
didn't realize Chuck and Larry was really bringing down the vibes. But, I'm gonna go and say, what's about the next one? You don't mess with the Zohan.
Oh,
Never
fuck,
fuck
I'd
with it.
fuck with that even less. Almost.
That one's like a weird Zionist piece of fucking garbage.
That one's less funny is the problem.
I think I might have said this on your guys' episode of Funny People when we were on the show. How like that's the first movie I can remember like coming
Not
home
liking.
and being like, I didn't like that movie. Like
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
probably
you
like,
did bring it
It's a movie, but I didn't enjoy
Yeah.
it.
like
What's going
I'm like
on
I'm like
exactly?
12 or 13. I'm like, well, I saw it and I paid for it.
But I
I'm like-
like the movie.
and I went with all my buddies.
But I like
all my friends went and we had a good time. But God, I don't think I liked the
It was a
movie.
great
the
time.
level of contempt for the Palestinian characters and the Islamophobia in that movie it's just a toxic movie altogether.
Right.
It's just contributing to the decay of society.
There's
Jesus Christ.
There's
It's
an
fucking
amazing
garbage,
video
man.
on YouTube when that movie was coming out. Someone did an interview with Rob Schneider, and in the intro, it's like, you might recognize Rob Schneider from his many cameos in Adam Sandler movies. Oftentimes, it's politically incorrect, but never is it not funny.
Whoa.
And then it cuts to him doing this interview, just like this smug fucking piece of shit. And she's like, oh, I just saw the movie. It was great. And he's like, yeah, well, we like to think that we play to both sides, and everybody gets their fair share of living in this movie.
And there's no playing to both
Oh
sides
God.
at all.
he
It's very
says, like,
clear to see where he stands.
If
on
anybody
that.
watches this, they'll see that both sides are crazy.
That legitimately is like, that's like if they took, and like this might be a bold statement, but I don't think it is in any way, considering the
But
death.
I'm not gonna fuck with it. You know what? I'm decided.
the death toll as far as like that conflict that's been going on that they're portraying there
For
is so
70
much
years.
fucking higher than anything that happened in 9/11. This is like garbage to the outrage that probably some people feel about this would be the outrage they would feel if Rain Over Me was like a proper ridiculous comedy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like it's
Right.
that
Pretty
type of
much,
shit
yeah.
where it's like you can't
Yeah.
fucking do that. Like I get that we're in fucking the US of A right now, but
Yeah,
this is just
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
stupid. We can't do this shit,
Little
and
heartless.
that's why it fucking lays at the bottom of the pit for me.
I don't think I'm about to watch Zohan anytime soon.
Don't.
Don't fucking
plan
do
on
it.
it,
And
yeah.
if you do it, just
Just don't tell anyone that I did.
just don't
Like,
do
watch
it.
it on YouTube
Just
where
don't
you
do
don't
it.
have to.
I'm just
pay
gonna try
money to do it.
I'm trying to find it on like Pornhub. I'll try to find Zohan on Pornhub.
Yeah.
What about bedtime stories?
No,
Oh, I
don't fuck
forgot
with it.
about bedtime
That one's
stories.
crap too.
That's a
Fuck that
rock.
movie.
I remember seeing it in the theater. I think we saw it together actually.
Yeah, we did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That
think I
one's-
fell asleep.
That one's a moldy
Possibly,
muffin
yeah.
in the
After
back of the
midnight, you turn
fridge.
back into a pumpkin.
Fuck, that's what happened.
Honestly, I'm
Legit.
surprised Daniel's still up right now. I gotta be honest.
It's a doozy.
Okay, yeah, that one's pretty much a snore fest, but also a kids movie, which is kind of interesting.
But I mean, we've got Hotel Transylvania that was,
That's true.
I've never seen it, but from what I understand, it's both better, and it was, it got better ratings and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, it's a good like.
Before we move forward, if you had a son right now, what movie would you let him watch?
Out
If
of
you had like a
these-
10-year-old
Out
son.
of the Adam Sandler movies, Billy Madison.
Billy Madison's the one.
I
right?
saw Billy Madison, too. My dad showed
Yeah.
me Billy Madison when I
Yeah,
was
same
10.
with Happy Gilmore.
That was the one for me too.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember going to stay with my grandparents for the weekend, and I brought Billy Madison VHS copy with me to my grandparents, and I watched it on like Saturday afternoon. But then like my parents came to pick me up on like Sunday night or something. My grandfather takes my dad aside and he says, "Why do you let your son watch that filth?"
That's amazing.
And my dad's just like, "What the fuck did he bring?" It was Billy Madison, and my dad's like, "I don't think it's that bad."
I remember being upset the first time I watched. Like, I really liked Billy Madison, but I remember being upset about, like, the blood pouring out of the clown's head. For whatever
Right.
reason, that just kind of disturbed me. It rubbed me the wrong way.
I haven't seen it in a while, to be honest.
There's always that one
of
scene in
Doo-Doo's
movies
head,
when you're a
shout
kid
out to
that
fucking
kind of doesn't
Doo-Doo.
stick
Shout
well.
out to
Yes.
our boy Doo the
Yeah.
clown.
Yeah.
Out in Waka, when I was a kid, we'd go stay with our grandparents in the video store in Waka there. Our grandmother would take us and she would let us rent like whatever the fuck, didn't pay attention. And we got Saving Silverman.
Okay.
And my grandfather walked in on me and my brother watching Saving Silverman. That's a bad movie to have someone walk in while
Is
you're
it Jack
watching
Black
it.
in that?
Jack Black and Jason Biggs and Steve Zahn.
Oh,
Oh,
Jason
man.
Biggs.
Fuck Steve Zahn, first and foremost. I remember going to my grandma's house and the same exact situation where she would just let me, like, it was crazy town there. I could just watch
like,
whatever I wanted.
Show.
I rented the Chronicle of Riddick, or the
With
Chronicles
Vin Diesel?
of Riddick
Oh,
with
yeah.
Vin Diesel,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like, it's shit, but he kills a guy with a fucking cup in that movie.
pretty
He's got those
badass.
knives and just like beyond violent. It was 18A and I was probably like fucking 10. You know, it was a rough boy.
It's a raunchy action movie.
All right, what
Yeah.
about, okay, well, here we go. Funny people.
Fuck with it.
Minor fuck with it.
Mine or
I
fuck?
fuck with it.
We'll
I'd fuck with it. I'd fuck that, like, right now.
Your fucking is
You're-
registered on the
Yeah.
list
I'm
at this
surprised
point.
that you didn't say that was your favorite Sandler flick.
It's up there for me, but, like, in terms of, like, it almost doesn't feel like a Sandler movie in a way.
Yeah.
It feels like a Judd Apatow movie, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
But what-
Sandler movie, that's a brand for
Yeah,
sure.
totally, yeah. And I think that for me totally is Mr.
That's
Deeds.
one of the weird digressions from his path, you know.
Well, it's a weird digression because it's somewhere in between, like, his usual forte and then, like, I don't know, some random bullshit. Like, it's weird. Okay, let's just go quick on this one. Grown-ups.
Don't fuck
Never
with it.
fuck with
Yeah,
it.
don't
Don't
fuck
fuck
with
with
that.
grown-ups.
All right, and then maybe we'll do two more, I guess. So, Jack and Jill.
No, don't fuck with it.
Don't fuck with it.
Like, that
Fuck,
must have...
fuck with most anything else other than going overboard.
You can-
Okay, well, hear me out then. So, same question. Someone points a gun to your head and they say, you have to choose one film to watch right now. Jack and Jill are going overboard. What do you pick?
Jack and Jill.
Probably
Every
Jack
fucking
and Jill.
time.
Wow.
Really?
Every
I'd
fucking
pick Going
time, man.
Overboard.
I would pick Going Overboard for
Yeah.
my kid too, for sure.
At
Jack and
least,
Jill's
though,
riddled
like-
with filth and advertising.
Oh,
Fuck that.
for the kid or for
A gun
me?
pointed to your head is what we're talking about.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Jack and Jill.
Well, you're pointing guns
Because
to your
like Jack
kids?
and Jill, at least you can watch it in HD, like so it doesn't look like
Yeah.
fucking dogs.
I don't know. There's
I
there
guess.
what like did I ever laugh in that movie? No, I think I
Or
you know what?
Regis Philbin having
can-
diarrhea is pretty funny. but-
Yeah, and Dana Carvey doing the fucking gut puppet, and
Yeah,
that's about
that's
it.
not
And that
good,
all
though.
happens in the first like 30 seconds. You know what though? You can listen to us talk about why we don't fuck with it for like an hour.
Our disdain is well registered. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can peep game. They have the episode on that already released. And of course, That's My Boy, your newest episode. Do you guys fuck with it?
Oh, I fuck with it.
Totally.
Big time.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
think
a
I
funny
would
movie.
actually
Fuck with it.
Yeah,
because
that's a fuck with me.
I
for
had
sure.
heard like just the premise of it is so bonkers that you would have a movie where like it's almost like pedophile sympathizing on some level. The idea that they allow the Adam Sandler character to, you know, profess legitimate love for this character, and like maybe that's just Stockholm
Right, yeah,
syndrome,
yeah.
you know. But I mean, on the same level, it's like if you made
Some
that
Stockholm
movie.
Cinema syndrome.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But if you were to make that movie with like a 12-year-old girl getting fucked by an adult male teacher, that shit
Yikes.
Who would be
you're-
played by T.J. Miller?
Roman first off, Roman Polanski would be fucking directing that
Oh,
shit.
He'd be
yeah.
directing and starring.
Yeah, directing
my
and
God.
starring.
Starring Elle Fanning. Alrighty, so...
Well, I'll say quickly to your point recently there, Kyle. The Stockholm Cinema Podcast. Every 2 weeks we do Enter Sandman, talking about Sandler movies. And then on the off weeks we do Hey, Let's Adapt That, talking about movies that are adapted from pre-existing content, stuff like that.
And
But
then
we've-
also whatever the fuck we want.
But we've really fallen off at this point. So Thursday, August 9th or whatever, it's going to be 10th. Check out for An American Tale 2, File Goes West. We're going to do an episode on that.
Sick.
So.
American Tail, that's good shit. And your latest episode of Enter Sandman, of course, is That's My Boy.
That's My Boy.
Awesome.
Out now,
Well-
so check it out.
Will we make sure to link that in the show notes? Is there a preferred way to find you guys on the internet?
Oh, Google Stockholm Cinema Podcast. You'll find us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
iTunes, Google Music,
Stitcher.
Libsyn,
Right.
Stitcher.
So yeah,
and then a
listeners
bunch
to
of
this show,
podcasts.
Anywhere
Yeah.
good podcasts.
listeners
are
of this show
found,
hear
so
us talk about this shit a lot.
You'll find
Yeah.
us, yeah.
Maybe not SoundCloud though, because that's going away.
We're not
Yeah, we don't
anymore.
fuck with SoundCloud. We fucked with SoundCloud for the first 4 episodes, and then our first episode disappeared. And we're like,
Yikes.
oh shit.
And we jumped ships.
yeah.
You jumped overboard.
Yeah.
I get you.
did. We
go
went
We
overboard.
currently pay for SoundCloud. So
yeah, we're trying to figure something out there. Again, because Chance the Rapper might be saving it. I don't know.
Wait for that to
Hit up
happen.
our boys in Libsyn.
It's not the city of
Yeah.
Chicago. He's not Superman. He can't save everything.
Yeah, I don't know how that's working. It's just what I keep hearing in my ears, my birds. And of course, guys, this has been the Second Viewing Podcast. You can reach me and Daniel talking about movies on the second time every second Monday these days. We got new episodes of Off the Cuff coming out. Degrassi's coming every Friday, but you've heard too much of our shit already. It was nice to have the Stockholm Cinema boys here talking
An
about.
absolute delight for us.
It's been a
It
good
was
time.
a pleasure. We had a
Thanks
good
so
fucking
much.
time with you guys.
Yeah, and watching Overboard was a feat, I think.
It was a feat, if anything else.
Yeah, I think we really conquered something. And,
I think we're blood brothers now.
Yeah.
More of us.
I mean, you were
Jesus
bleeding
Christ.
earlier. We
I
should have.
was
Bleeding earlier.
profusely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. And this has been a long ass fucking episode, so maybe we won't waste any more time. Any more of your time? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
As always,
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm Kyle.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Spencer.
I'm Zach.
We'll catch you guys next week.
You boys have fidget spinners?